First contact with the impossible. The research vessel Astral Seeker hung in orbit around the blue-green planet, its sleek silver hull reflecting the light of an ordinary yellow star. On the observation deck, Chief Researcher Zalura pressed her six-fingered hand against the viewport, her large violet eyes blinking rapidly in disbelief. "Impossible," she whispered, her translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns of confusion. "The readings must be wrong." Science Officer Nevin approached with a data tablet, his tall, willowy frame towering over his superior. "We've run the analysis 7 times, Chief. The data is conclusive. This planet is a Class 5 Deathworld by all Galactic Confederation standards. Extreme temperature variations, crushing gravity, toxic atmospheric components, aggressive weather patterns, and rampant biological hazards. Yet it teems with intelligent life." Zalura finished. "Show me the visuals again." The main display activated, showing the planet's surface. Sprawling cities covered vast areas, connected by intricate transportation networks. Satellites orbited the world, primitive but functional. Radio waves and digital signals saturated the electromagnetic spectrum. "They call themselves humans," Nevin said, "and their world Earth. According to our intercepted communications, they've been the dominant species for a mere few thousand cycles, barely a moment in evolutionary terms." Captain Thorin joined them, his exoskeleton clicking softly as he moved. Unlike the softer-bodied members of the crew, Thorin's species had evolved on a Class 3 world, still far more hospitable than the nightmare below. "Any species that evolves on a Class 5 should be primitive, aggressive, and perpetually struggling for survival," Thorin said, "not building space stations and debating philosophy." The bridge fell silent as they watched footage of humans going about their daily lives, walking through downpours without protection, carrying loads that would crush most Confederation citizens, consuming substances that scanners identified as mildly toxic, and surviving temperatures that would require special equipment for any of the crew to endure. "They don't even seem to notice," whispered Medical Officer Lyra, her feathered crest rising in agitation. "Look, those juveniles are playing in an area with 1.3 times our standard gravity, breathing air with oxidizers that would corrode our respiratory systems in minutes." Zalura made her decision. "We need to study them more closely. Prepare a comprehensive observation protocol. No contact yet. We need to understand how they've achieved the impossible." For 3 standard weeks, the Astral Seeker monitored Earth. The crew watched with growing fascination as humans demonstrated capabilities that defied biological understanding. "They fracture their skeletal structures regularly," Lyra reported during a research briefing, "yet heal completely, often becoming stronger at the breakpoints. Their epidermal layer regenerates after damage. They consume substances that would be lethal to us in minute quantities. Their immune systems adapt to new pathogens instead of succumbing." Nevin added, "Their historical records show they've survived multiple planet-wide extinction-level events, ice ages, plagues, and self-inflicted wars using atomic weapons. They rebuild rather than perish." Cultural specialist Orcs, whose 4 eyes allowed him to process visual information with remarkable depth, studied human artistic and literary outputs. "Most fascinating," he noted, "is their psychology. Species from hospitable worlds typically develop cautious, contemplative mindsets. These humans embrace risk, celebrate exploration, and romanticize the dangerous. They climb mountains because, and I quote from their transmissions, they are there. They sail across vast oceans in primitive craft for recreation." Captain Thorin reviewed the accumulated data with growing concern. "The Confederation has never encountered a species like this. Their resilience could make them either the greatest allies or the most dangerous enemies in the galaxy." After a month of observation, Zalura finalized her recommendation. "We should establish formal contact. Their space technology is primitive, but advancing rapidly. Within a century, they'll develop interstellar travel on their own. Better to welcome them now, under controlled circumstances." The request went to Confederation Command, and approval came swiftly, with one stipulation. The contact team must take extraordinary precautions against Earth's hostile environment. As the shuttle prepared for descent, the contact team donned their environmental suits, full body protection against Earth's crushing gravity, corrosive atmosphere, and microbial threats. The suit's exoskeletons would help them move in the planet's punishing gravitational field. Remember, Zellura instructed the team, we come as scientists and diplomats. These humans have conquered a world that would kill any of us within minutes without protection. We must approach with appropriate respect. The shuttle descended through layers of atmosphere that the sensors reported contained nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and dozens of trace elements, many toxic to Confederation physiology. The landing site was a neutral zone agreed upon through preliminary radio communications, a flat plain outside a population center called Geneva. As the shuttle touched down, Zellura peered through the viewport at the gathered human delegation. They stood in the open air, wearing only light fabric coverings, seemingly unconcerned by the natural forces that required the aliens to wear full environmental protection. "They're so exposed," whispered Morix. "Not even breathing apparatus." The shuttle door opened, and the team stepped onto Earth soil. Despite the protective suits, they felt the crushing weight of the gravity, making each movement deliberate and difficult. The atmospheric pressure pressed against their suits, a constant reminder of the death trap this world represented to them. A human stepped forward, taller than expected, with a brown covering on its upper head and skin that appeared impossibly durable. It raised a hand in what appeared to be a greeting gesture. "On behalf of the United Earth Government, I welcome you to our world," the human said. Its voice translated through their systems. "I am Director Elena Vasquez of the International Space Agency." Zellura stepped forward, fighting the gravity with each movement. "I am Chief Researcher Zellura of the Galactic Confederation. We thank you for your welcome." The human tilted its head, studying their protective gear. "Are our environmental conditions difficult for you?" "Your world would kill us in moments without these suits," Zellura admitted. "Your gravity strains our muscular systems, your atmosphere contains elements toxic to our biology, and your microorganisms would overwhelm our immune responses." The human delegation exchanged glances, expressions changing in ways the aliens' cultural databases couldn't fully interpret. "Yet you've traveled across stars," observed Vasquez. "We evolved on worlds far more forgiving than yours," Zellura explained. "Most spacefaring species come from environments with minimal threats, what we classify as Class 1 or Class 2 worlds. Your Earth is a Class 5, the most extreme category in our classification system. By all our scientific understanding, intelligent life should not have evolved here." "A death world," murmured another human, this one with darker skin and a fascinated expression. "You're saying we live on a death world?" "The most extreme example we've ever encountered," confirmed Nevin. "The very conditions you find comfortable would be catastrophic for most Confederation species." The human delegation led them to a prepared structure, a simple building with atmospheric controls adjusted to reduce some of the environmental strain on the visitors. Inside, screens displayed information about Earth and humanity's history. As the first formal meeting progressed, the aliens struggled even with their protective technology. The humans noticed their discomfort. "Perhaps we should continue these discussions on your vessel," suggested Vasquez, "if our environment is so taxing for you." "No," Zellura insisted. "Understanding your world is crucial to understanding you. Please, tell us, how have you not only survived but thrived in conditions that should have prevented your evolution?" A human scientist stepped forward. "We didn't know we were special. This is simply the world that shaped us. Through our history, those who survived passed on their traits: endurance, adaptability, problem-solving. When the environment tried to kill us, we didn't just survive. We mastered it." Another human added, "We've wondered why we've detected no signals from other civilizations. Perhaps now we know. We're the odd ones, evolving in conditions others would find impossible." As the initial meeting concluded, Captain Thorin approached Zalara privately. Their historical records show constant warfare. Chief, a species forged in such harsh conditions might pose a significant threat if introduced to the wider galaxy. Zalara watched through her helmet as a human child outside the window laughed, running freely under a sky that would poison her in minutes. Or they might be precisely what the Confederation needs, she replied. A species that doesn't accept impossibility, one that thrives where others perish. The first day of contact ended with an agreement for ongoing diplomatic relations. As the alien team returned to their shuttle, struggling with each step under Earth's crushing gravity, they watched humans moving effortlessly through their normal environment. An environment that registered on every sensor as a death trap. How strange, Morix observed, to discover that what we consider impossible is someone else's ordinary day. The shuttle lifted off, carrying the exhausted contact team back to the safety of the Astral Seeker, while below, humans looked up at the stars with new understanding. They were the galaxy's survivors, evolved in fire, thriving where others could not even breathe. Forging an alliance in fire. 3 months into the diplomatic mission, the Confederation team had established a permanent embassy on Earth, a sealed environment where they could interact with humans without the crushing weight of environmental suits. The structure stood on the outskirts of Geneva, its advanced materials protecting the alien diplomats from Earth's hostile conditions. Inside the embassy, Zalara reviewed the latest cultural exchange reports with growing fascination. Humans had been eager to share their knowledge, arts, and technology, while showing equal interest in Confederation science. The exchange was proceeding faster than anyone had anticipated. Their adaptability extends beyond the physical. Morix noted as he shared footage of human representatives, learning the complex harmonics of Confederation formal language. They master in weeks what takes our younglings years. Because they must, replied Thorin, who had remained skeptical of the humans. A species that evolved on a Deathworld would need to learn quickly or perish. The embassy's alert system suddenly flashed red. Science Officer Nevin's voice came through the communication system. Chief Researcher, sensors have detected a significant seismic event building approximately 30 kilometers from our location. Magnitude potentially catastrophic. Zalara accessed the data feeds. Earth's unstable geology. Another deadly feature of this Class 5 world was about to demonstrate its power. The predicted earthquake would affect not only the embassy but the nearby human settlement of Annecy. Notify the human authorities immediately, she ordered. Before the warning could be transmitted, the ground began to shake. Despite the embassy's advanced stabilization systems, the violence of Earth's tectonic movement overwhelmed the compensators. Equipment crashed to the floor as cracks appeared in the specially designed walls. Walls meant to withstand conditions far beyond what should have been necessary. Structural integrity compromised, reported the security system. Atmospheric containment at risk. Outside, through the viewports, they could see dust rising from the human city. Buildings swayed and some collapsed. The earthquake, a normal feature of this death world, was tearing apart both alien embassy and human structures alike. Emergency protocols, ordered Zalara as she struggled to maintain her footing. Evacuate to the shuttle. The embassy staff hurried toward the emergency bay, but a section of ceiling collapsed, blocking their path. Toxic Earth atmosphere began leaking through the damaged seals, air that would corrode their respiratory systems within minutes of exposure. We're trapped, Lyra said, her medical scanner already showing dangerous readings. The shuttle bay is inaccessible, and our environmental suits were stored there. Thorin activated the emergency beacon. The Astral Seeker can dispatch a rescue team, but it will take hours to reach us from orbit. We don't have hours, Zalara replied, watching as more cracks spread across the containment walls. The embassy's external communication system suddenly activated. A human voice came through. Confederation Embassy. This is Emergency Response Team Alpha. We detect structural damage to your facility. Do you require assistance? Zalara pressed the response button. This is Chief Researcher Zalara. Our evacuation route is blocked, and atmospheric containment is failing. Without our environmental suits, Earth's atmosphere will be lethal to us." There was a pause before the human responded. "Understood. Remain in place. We're coming to you." 20 minutes later, as the embassy's systems reported atmospheric contamination reaching critical levels, the outer doors were forced open. A team of humans entered, wearing what appeared to be primitive versions of the Confederation's environmental suits, simple masks and protective clothing, rather than the full exoskeletons the aliens required. The leader removed her mask momentarily, an act that shocked the watching aliens. To speak clearly, "I'm Captain Rivera, Earth Emergency Response. We've brought temporary breathing apparatus for your team and have cleared a path to our vehicles." She handed Zalura what appeared to be a simple mask with an attached air tank. "This isn't calibrated for your physiology, but it should filter out enough of our atmosphere to keep you alive until we reach the secure facility." The aliens exchanged uncertain glances. These simple devices seemed woefully inadequate against the toxic Earth environment, but they had no choice. One by one, they accepted the masks. "The gravity," Naven said hesitantly. "Without our exosuits, we can barely move in your gravity." Captain Rivera nodded. "We've brought personnel carriers. My team will assist you." What followed was a harrowing journey through the earthquake-damaged landscape. The humans moved with astonishing speed and confidence through the destruction, supporting the struggling aliens as Earth's gravity threatened to crush their bodies. The air, even filtered through the emergency masks, burned their respiratory passages. Yet their human rescuers showed no signs of distress. They carried heavy equipment through the rubble, lifted fallen debris that would have required mechanical assistance for any Confederation species, and breathed the toxic air with only occasional masks when dust became too thick. The emergency vehicles transported them to a human medical facility that had been hastily adapted for alien physiology. As medical staff helped the embassy team into prepared chambers with filtered atmosphere and reduced gravity simulation, Zalura watched through the window as those same humans immediately turned to head back out. "Where are they going?" she asked a human doctor who remained to monitor their condition. "Back to the earthquake zone," he replied simply. "There are still people trapped in the rubble." "After what they've already endured?" Lyra asked incredulously. "They should be exhausted, reaching their physical limits." The doctor looked confused. "This is what we do. When disaster strikes, we help each other, for as long as it takes." 3 days later, when the Confederation rescue ship finally arrived with proper environmental equipment, they found the embassy team already working alongside humans to coordinate relief efforts. Zalura had established a temporary command center in the adapted medical facility, using Confederation technology to help locate survivors trapped under collapsed buildings. Captain Thorin, whose skepticism about humans had been well known, was coordinating with Earth's emergency services, his environmental suit allowing him to venture briefly into the field. "You've changed your assessment of the humans," Zalura observed when they had a moment alone. Thorin's compound eyes focused on the activity outside. Humans working tirelessly, despite injuries, exhaustion, and continued aftershocks. "I misunderstood the implications of evolving on a Deathworld," he admitted. "I thought it would make them dangerous. And it has, but not in the way I feared. They're dangerous to problems, to obstacles, to limitations we've always accepted." The observation window showed a human emergency worker lifting a concrete slab that would have required mechanical assistance for any Confederation species, allowing a medical team to reach injured civilians. "They call it adrenaline," Thorin continued. "A chemical their bodies produce in emergencies that temporarily gives them even greater strength and endurance than their already remarkable baseline. They evolved not just to survive their world, but to rescue others from it." 6 weeks after the earthquake, Zalura stood before the Confederation Council, her final report ready. The chamber was filled with representatives from 200 worlds, none of which presented the challenges that humans faced every day on Earth. "In conclusion," she said, "I formally recommend that humanity be offered full membership in the Galactic Confederation. with special dispensation for their unique biological requirements. A council member from a Class 1 world raised an objection. Their technology is centuries behind our standards. Their understanding of galactic principles is in its infancy. What could they possibly contribute that would justify such an unprecedented recommendation? Zelera activated the holographic display, showing footage from the earthquake rescue operations. Humans working beyond what should have been their physical limits, entering damaged buildings that threatened to collapse, using primitive tools alongside advanced Confederation technology to save lives. What they offer is perspective, she replied. For millennia, we've approached problems with the assumption that there are environmental conditions too hostile to overcome, challenges too great to surmount. Humans have never accepted such limitations. She displayed the medical data collected during their time on Earth. Their bodies repair damage that would be fatal to our species. Their minds adapt to new information with remarkable speed. They craft solutions with whatever materials are available. And most importantly, she paused, searching for the right words. They never abandon their own, or even strangers, no matter the personal risk. Another council member spoke. You believe they would extend this protective instinct to Confederation species. They already have, Thorin answered, stepping forward to join Zelera. When our embassy was compromised, they risked their lives to rescue us. Alien visitors they had known for mere months. They didn't calculate the diplomatic advantage or weigh the technological exchange potential. They simply saw beings in danger and acted. The council chambers filled with murmurs as representatives discussed the unprecedented recommendation. Finally, the High Counselor raised a hand for silence. If we accept these humans into the Confederation, we will be admitting a species that can survive conditions that would kill any of us. A species that demonstrates strength, endurance, and adaptability far beyond our norms. Some might consider this destabilizing to the existing order. Zelera nodded. It will change us, yes, but consider the possibilities. Explorers who can venture onto worlds we could never visit, emergency responders who can endure conditions that would be fatal to our current teams, scientists with perspectives forged in environmental extremes we've never experienced. And if conflict ever comes from beyond our borders, added Thorin, I would rather have these Deathworlders fighting alongside us than facing them as adversaries. One standard year after the earthquake, the newly constructed Joint Confederation Earth Embassy stood completed. Unlike the original structure, this one was designed to accommodate both species. Separate atmospheric chambers were necessary, but with shared spaces where humans and aliens could interact, each protected from the elements harmful to their biology. As the official opening ceremony concluded, Zelera stood with Elena Vasquez, watching as humans and Confederation representatives mingled, each learning to accommodate the other's needs. Your people have already volunteered for the first mixed species exploration teams, Vasquez noted, worlds that were mapped but never visited because of environmental extremes. Zelera's skin pulsed with patterns of agreement, and your engineers have already proposed solutions to long-standing Confederation challenges, approaches we never considered because they required enduring conditions we found intolerable. A young human child approached, carefully wearing a modified mask that prevented her breath from harming the alien visitors. She offered Zelera a drawing, a simple artwork showing human and alien figures standing together beneath a starry sky. What do you think we'll discover together? The child asked. Zelera accepted the drawing with careful movements, still adjusting to Earth's gravity even in the reduced weight section of the embassy. I think, she replied, we will discover that the universe contains far fewer impossibilities than we once believed. Outside the embassy windows, Earth's harsh sun beat down with radiation levels that would damage Confederation species without protection. Its gravity pulled with force that strained their bodies, and its atmosphere swirled with elements that would poison their systems. A death world by every scientific measure. And on that death world, humans went about their daily lives, unaware of their extraordinary resilience, while their new alien allies watched with wonder at the species that had made the impossible their home.